AITAH for ignoring the wishes of my mill and letting my daughter read on family vacation. My daughter, Julia, is introverted and loves reading. My mill thinks I'm encouraging antisocial behavior by letting Julia read instead of pushing her to join group activities. I've tried to strike a balance, encouraging her to participate a little, but mostly letting her enjoy vacation in her own way. My husband and I agree that Julia should enjoy the trip however she likes, but my mill is unhappy, thinking we're spoiling her. 39F here, wife and mama of 3, 10M, 8F, and 5F. My husband Joe is one of 3 boys. His parents have a vacation home in Hawaii, and every year they invite the kids, in-laws, and grandkids for a week-long family vacation. Some context is that Joe and his brothers were all competitive athletes and loved playing sports and games on family vacations. My in-laws encourage this with the grandkids, there are currently 7, and are always trying to get them to play sand soccer or football on the beach. My son and younger daughter love the games and also being in the water, but my middle daughter Julia is different. Julia is smart and creative, but she's also a sensitive and introverted little girl. She has friends at school, but isn't as eager to play with her male cousins because they don't have as much in common with her. Julia and her friends at school love playing pretend. They've created an entire imaginary world and putting on shows. We now have her in theater and ballet since first date. My 4 nephews and other 2 kids aren't interested in these activities and enjoy running around and playing sports all day, like Joe and his brothers did when they were kids. Julia, for whatever reason, just seems to have a different personality than the other kids in the family. My daughter is also a huge bookworm and is completely hooked on the Goosebumps series. When I say hooked, I mean that she spends almost all of her free time reading these books and begs me to take her to the bookstore to buy more frequently. She loves telling me about the books she's reading and has even started writing her own Goosebumps stories before bed. I personally am happy that my daughter loves to read and is so creative, and I try to encourage her to pursue these interests. She's definitely a bit quirky compared to my other 2, but she's being herself and pursuing her own interests, which I love. We got to the island on Thursday night and spent all day Friday and Saturday at the beach and are going to the pool today. Julia plays with her cousins at the house and talks to them at meals, but during the day, she just wants to sit next to me and read her books. I have encouraged her to swim for a little bit since we're in Hawaii, and she goes in the water for a few minutes, but then she asks if she can get back to her book. She's played a few games with her cousins and siblings when I coax her, but again, she honestly just wants to be reading Goosebumps. Overall, when we're at the beach, I'd say she spends 1/5 of the time playing and 4/5 of the time reading. She would probably spend the whole time reading if I didn't encourage her to try other things for a little bit. My husband doesn't see an issue with Julia spending the days reading. He says we're on vacation and it's about her having fun. He says if she wants to read on the beach all day, it's her decision, and she's at least getting some sun, having a blast, and enriching her mind. I generally agree, although I do wish she'd swim a bit more since we're in Hawaii and also spend more time with the other kids. This morning before breakfast, my MIL pulled my husband and I to the side and asked if we were going to let Julia bring her book to the pool today. My husband said yes, and my MIL asked us to reconsider. She said the trip is about family and Julia creating memories with her siblings and cousins. I told my MIL that Julia is very introverted and that she bonds with the other kids at the house during meals and for a bit at the beach, but she doesn't need to be running around with them 24/7 to create happy memories. My mill then accused us of spoiling Julia, encouraging her to be antisocial and teaching her that her individual desires are more important than being part of the group. My MIL also says her obsession with Goosebumps is unhealthy and that Julia isn't interested in talking about anything that isn't related to fictional stories and characters. She does talk about Goosebumps a lot, but my mill is exaggerating a bit. Story 4. AITAH for not allowing my mill to stay at our place. We, 26F and 26M, are a couple of newlyweds just trying to figure out life. We are doing good and are in love. We got married less than 6 months ago, and my parents paid for our dream wedding and are still supporting us. My mill constantly told us she would give us money, but she never did. I never asked for it, and honestly didn't need it thanks to my parents. But it was annoying hearing the same story where she promised something we all knew she could never give us. She was the only one giving us a hard time while planning the wedding because she wanted to invite a ton of people we barely knew. She didn't put a penny out of her pocket, but still wanted to have a lot of people in our wedding, which made me angry, but I never told her or my husband just to be respectful. She didn't seem happy the day we got married. Not sure why, since we always had a good relationship, and she ended up inviting a lot of people. I was always respectful, and even asked her opinion in some wedding stuff, so she could feel she was part of it. Long story short, she lives in another state, and every time she came to TX, she stayed with her brother. He is single. Yesterday we picked up her from the airport, and she told my husband she was expecting to stay with us. I talked about this before telling him I don't feel comfortable with family memebers staying over at our house. They could visit and everything but not sleep in our home, and that it was one of my boundaries, which he agreed. She's playing the victim, saying her brother and her got into an argument a few months ago and they don't talk anymore. So now every time she comes over, she needs to stay with us. When we dropped her at her brother's, he was nice and kind to her. He always said she could stay with him and that he could also help her with any errands she needed to. She never told my husband about the situation, and never asked him or me if it was okay that she could stay with us. I get she's my husband's mom, but I feel like she needs to understand that we do have boundaries and she can't come and expect we accommodate our schedules around her. I don't feel comfortable with anyone else staying because I WFH and I clean, cook, and do chores at my own pace, so I don't want to have someone just saying what I need to do. I'm not happy that she planned her whole trip expecting we accommodate her without even asking us. We always thought she would stay with her brother as she always did before. She was never clingy to my husband when he was single. Not sure why she wants to play that role now. Spoiler, she stayed with her brother, but I feel my husband is resentful now, since he thinks I don't want her mother just because I'm mean. AITAH. Relevant comments. Commenter, NTA. Good on you for not caving and letting her stay with you. It was wrong for her to just assume she could stay with you without having discussed it at all. Remind your husband that you don't want anyone staying at your house at this point, not just his mom. Also note that it was wrong of her to have an expectation to stay with you when she didn't have enough respect for you guys to ask ahead of time. Establishing and sticking to boundaries as a couple from the start will ultimately be good for you both. Others will simply have to learn to adjust to that, as difficult as some find it. FWOW. When my sister first got married and they started establishing boundaries with immediate family, both sets of parents really had a hard time with it. It took a while for them to accept that this was the new normal and respect their decisions, whether they agreed or not. Commenter, NTA. But if your husband says he wants his mother to stay at your house in the future, inform him he will need to take leave from work to entertain her. They will need to leave the house or be quiet during your working hours, since you WFH. He will be in charge of being her host, including making food, cleaning up after her, etc., while she stays with you. Having these type of boundaries set for future guests could help your husband see that you don't want to be home with guests while you are working, and hopefully see how much work goes into having house guests that you have to do the work for. Thank you for sticking around until the end. If you liked our videos, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to keep up with our latest content. Have a wonderful day. This set off my husband, and he said that Julia has friends at school, but has different interests than her cousins and siblings. He said he wants her to enjoy her vacation, and if that means her reading all day, then he supports it, as long as it's not impacting the rest of the group. The convo ended with me telling my MIL that Julia can bring her books to the pool, and that I'm not going to force her to spend her trip doing things she's not interested in. My MIL and FIL have spent the entire breakfast scowling at me and my husband. At one point, Julia started telling my MIL about her favorite Goosebumps book, and my MIL said she isn't interested in hearing anything else about Goosebumps. She also said that Julia should talk about things that interest other people as well, and Julia started asking her grandma about the books she liked and tennis. My husband told his mom not to parent his child in front of everyone, and it was very awkward. We're about to head to the pool, and I'm letting Julia bring her books, but I'm not sure if I'm doing the right thing. I'm trying to find the balance between letting her enjoy the trip and also being part of the group. Any advice would be appreciated. Relevant comments. Commenter, forcing a child to be social when they aren't ready will not allow for the confidence it requires to become truly social. Villainizing a child for liking books is isolating and cruel and straight up stupid. Mael needs to buzz off. NTA OP, thank you, I agree. I think making her play with the cousins all day will just make it a chore and make her less inclined to try new things. I hope my MIL does, or my family might need to venture off and do our own thing. Commenter, please don't ever leave your little girl alone with you, MIL. Her dismissing her when she tried to talk to her about something she's excited about is just plain cruel. Story 2. AITAH. I've started calling my mother by her name after she got pregnant by someone younger than me. The title is self-explanatory, I guess. My mother is having a child with her boyfriend, who is 4 years younger than me. He's 22 and she's 47. As a result, I've had a hard time viewing her as a mother, and she feels more like a fellow peer now. I can't bring myself to call her mom anymore. It just feels so fucking gross to call her that when she's having another child with someone who's younger than me. She, of course, is furious with this, and has began making stupid remarks about the way I've started addressing her, and bad-mouthing me to family members, among other things. I don't care. I've always been uncomfortable with their relationship, but tried to blank it out, as I was only visiting her like once a month. But holy shit, I can't stand being around either of them at this stage and feel like I need to stay away for the time being. No more visits. Anyway, that's my dumbass post. Fucking hell, man. Why was it so hard for her to stay within her age range? How the fuck does she not see how weird this shit is? Fucking boggles my mind. Relevant comments. Commenter, what do the 22-year-old parents think? Would it not be funny if he and his girlfriend went to his parents to let them know that the mother of their grandchild is older than either or both of them? Commenter, so, I have a mother who is married to a 16-year-old younger guy. My mom and her MIL were at the same school at the same time. MIL was pregnant in high school. My mom married the baby, and my mom was pregnant with me when he was 14 months old. So we are less than 2 years apart. And no, I don't call him dad. I literally call him bro, voila. Thanks to the award, I guess. I need to contact Netflix. They will love my life. Story 3. AITAH for not inviting my brother to my son's graduation because he made it all about his new girlfriend. Again, I, 41M, have a son, Sam, 18M, who recently graduated from high school. This was a huge milestone, and we had been planning a special family dinner to celebrate. I was proud of him and wanted the evening to be focused on his accomplishments, as he worked so hard to get to this point. My brother, Alex, 38M, has a bit of a history when it comes to family events. Every time he gets into a new relationship, he parades his new girlfriend around, turning any occasion into meet the girlfriend night. It's happened so many times that it's become a running joke in the family, but this time, I wasn't in the mood for distractions. He just started dating Lisa, 27F, a couple of months ago, and I knew exactly how the night would go, Alex introducing her to everyone, like she's the main event, hogging conversations and making it about them rather than Sam. So I asked him not to bring her to the dinner. I told him it wasn't personal, but I wanted the focus to be on Sam, not on his new relationship. I thought Alex would understand, but he lost it. He called me selfish, said I was jealous because he was happy again after his divorce, and accused me of deliberately excluding him. My parents, always the peacemakers, got involved and started pressuring me to let it go. They said Alex deserved to be happy, and that Lisa should be welcomed with open arms, especially since Alex hasn't been in a serious relationship since his divorce. They made me feel like I was ruining family harmony, but I stood my ground. I wanted this night to be special for Sam, not another spectacle about Alex's latest girlfriend. In the end, Alex refused to come without her, so I didn't invite him at all. Now, my parents are furious, saying I'm alienating my own brother over something petty, and Alex is spreading the word that I'm punishing him for being in love. Sam had a great night, but I can't shake the feeling that I've caused unnecessary drama. Some family members agree with me, but others say I could have just let him bring her to avoid conflict. I'm stuck wondering, was I wrong for drawing this line, or is Alex the one who's making everything about himself yet again? AITAH? Relevant comments. Commenter. LOL, I'm sorry, but the punishing me for being in love line is hilarious. I wouldn't say a couple months of dating Lisa is seriously dating if he has brought other people around since his divorce. What makes her so different? He isn't treating her any different. If he wants to introduce the person he is in love with to the family, he should make an arrangement with everyone like a dinner outing or a small get-together and make it officially about her, not just some other chick he's bringing around to a family event. It's like he wants her to feel special because she's meeting the family, but it's not actually special, BC. It has happened this way before, NTA. He sounds immature and desperate to fall in love. Love is beautiful, and everyone deserves it. But my guy, come on, no one hates you because you're in love. OP. Ha ha ha, yeah. The punishing me for being in love line definitely had me shaking my head a bit too. I agree it's hard to take it seriously when he's done this exact thing with every girlfriend since his divorce. It's like he's using family events as a stage to show off his relationships, but it ends up feeling less special because it's become a pattern. If he really wanted to introduce Lisa properly, like you said, he could have made it an actual event about her, instead of turning Sam's big night into another meet the girlfriend moment. It's not about him being in love, it's about the timing and respect for the occasion.